When you go from room temperature to step into the cryo chamber and it immediately drops down to minus 110 degrees Celsius or colder, you have thermoreceptors in your skin. These thermoreceptors are nerves that are constantly working with your brain to make sure that your core temperature stays at that 98.6 degree steady temperature. So these thermoreceptors are always doing either from sweating and that sweat evaporating to keep you cool, to other things that it's going to do in manipulating blood flow to keep your core stabilized. So those thermoreceptors, when you have that dramatic of a temperature change, they are going to send signals to your brain that trigger this reaction in your autonomic nervous system, where your body basically, it tricks your brain into thinking that you're going to freeze to death. And that unleashes your body's natural ability to heal itself in a lot of ways. First of all, you're naturally, the vasculature in your extremities is going to constrict, and that's going to force more blood flow to your vital organs, your heart, your lungs, your liver. Because again, if your body thinks, like if you're stranded on top of Mount Everest and your body thinks that you're in danger of freezing to death, it doesn't really care at that point if you lose a finger or a toe. It wants to keep you alive by getting that blood flow concentrated in your vital organs. And so during that process, the blood is hyperoxygenated, it's detoxified, and then when you get out, that vasculature in those extremities opens up very, very quickly. And so that hyperoxygenated blood flows back out very, very quickly to all the other tissue. And that has a lot of healing properties. But even bigger than that, which is huge with the whole body cryotherapy, is there are messenger molecules, cytokines, interleukins that actually control the inflammatory response of the body. And if your body thinks that your brain thinks you're freezing to death, it's going to manipulate those molecules in a way that it's going to sweep inflammation out of your body. Because if you think about it, if you're in danger of freezing to death, the last thing you want is fluid built up in that other tissue. So also those thermoreceptors that we talked about, they work along the same neurological pathways as the pain receptors or the nociceptors, and they're bright receptors. So when they get very excited, they really take over those pathways that pain would normally travel down. And so that is one of the ways that it relieves pain for the entire body. And again, with traditional icing or an ice bath, that's still going to be very local. You can get the vasoconstriction with an ice bath that is going to push the blood flow out of those areas and help the swelling to go down. But this is going to be systemic. It's going to be working in all the organs in the body, and people have inflammation from a variety of environmental factors that you may not even know that you have an issue with it. But foods that we eat, toxins in the air, the stresses of everyday life, these are all causing inflammation in your body. And so when this is systemically relieved, people, even if they didn't come in with an autoimmune disease or an acute injury, they just think, wow, I feel better, and I feel just kind of more in the zone just from doing that. And that's really what it is. It's you've been relieved of inflammation you didn't even know you had.